November is nearly upon us, and I actually did surprisingly well sticking to my TBR for October, so let's try to keep up that energy and try to stick to a TBR for November, shall we? Or not, whatever. Hi guys, welcome back, bienvenue and all that jazz. It's time to talk about some books, or in particular, today I will be talking about the 8 books that would be wheat in French, that I am hoping to get to in the month of November. Many of these are buddy reads, some of them are just stuff that's been sitting on my shelf and I want to get to, so let's talk about it. First up, I am doing a buddy read of the Lord of the Rings trilogy with a friend over on the Gram, and we'll be chatting about it, so I am so thrilled to be getting back to the series. It has been a very long time, and so for the month of November, we are doing the Fellowship of the Ring, and I will be trying the audiobooks narrated by Andy Serkis for the first time, because every time I've read these, I've always read from the pretty black editions that are fully illustrated that my husband got for me, and so for the first time ever, I will be trying out the audiobook versions, and I love Andy Serkis, love me his Gollum vibes, and I hear that they are phenomenal audiobooks, and so fingers crossed. I hope that I don't have to describe what The Lord of the Rings is about. Fellowship of the Ring is the first book, but we'll just give you some beautiful dust jackets by Nerdy Ink instead. We go on a journey. We have hobbits, Gandalf, Boromir, Legolas, Aragorn. Our crew sets off on the journey to try to destroy the One Ring and bring about the end of Sauron, the Dark Lord, and it is amazing. It is everything. I will say that I remember, it's been quite a few years since I've done a reread of this series. I think I read it for the first time when I was in like 4th grade, 5th grade, and then I've reread it every few years since then. So I remember not always loving the Tom Bombadil parts, not gonna lie. So we'll see how it goes, but I love this series, my favorite series of all time. Can't wait to be back in the Middle Earth world. Then another buddy read that I'm doing with Madison from the channel Madison Goodyear. She and I are continuing on with a reread for her, first time read for me of The Song of Ice and Fire. So in November, we are on to A Storm of Swords. This is book 3 in The Song of Ice and Fire by J.R.R. Martin. I don't know why I had a brain fart for a second. I will be reading from the beautiful illustrated edition. I will note, however, if you choose to read from the illustrated editions, the illustrations tend to come at the start of the chapters and the illustrations can be kind of spoily, so you maybe have to like close your eyes and that kind of stuff. I am very excited to continue on with A Storm of Swords because especially in book 2, A Clash of Kings, I started to see many different things that were changed or adapted or cut out of the show because I've seen the show many times. It's one of my favorite shows ever. And so it's just been fascinating to see the things that got kept in or cut out or changed. It seems like things that made these books feel very like fantasy horror vibes were cut out for the show, maybe to have more mass appeal. Who knows? But I can't wait to continue. But my God, is this book a chunker? In this edition, it is basically 1,000 pages. So love that for me. I will probably be doing a mix of audio as well as physical because that's long and I need to get through it. So this is definitely happening. Then the final bunny read I have planned for November is A Taste of Gold and Iron by Alexandra Rowland. And this is queer, male, slow burn fantasy romance. I plan to read this with Chris over at A Fictional Escapist. He was lovely and sent this to me for my birthday, which is coming up next Monday. And I don't know much about it. It's like bodyguard romance, maybe? Very slow burn. I hear that there's not a ton of plot. It's lots of like just very slow burn romance. So we'll see. I mean, male romance. I'm into it. Shocking. Since I'm married to a man. Who would have guessed? But I'm very much looking forward to trying out this book next month. Then I'm also planning to get to Heart of the Sun Warrior by Sue Lynn Tan. This is book 2 in the Celestial Kingdoms duology, which started with Daughter of the Moon Goddess. The conclusion is coming out, I think, November 15th. I have an arc of it that has been sitting on my Kindle, and I need to read it already. I loved Daughter of the Moon Goddess for the most part. The romance parts were the parts that I really liked the least. I loved the adventures, the explorations, the different characters. I loved talking to dragons, going on different quests. It was just a lot of fun, and with where book 1 left off, I'm curious to see what happens next in book 2. And since it's just a duology, this will be the conclusion of an adult fantasy duology, and we're here for it. We stand all that energy, and so I will definitely be getting to that. Then just to kind of mix things up, throw in some lighthearted fun, I'm going to read Amari and the Great Game by B.B. Alston. This is book 2 in the Amari series, trilogy, who knows. Book 1 was Amari and the Night Brothers, which is just this adorable kind of twist on the magical school trope for middle grade. It's more of like a magical summer internship at like a bureau for magical affairs kind of thing. It's a lot of fun, a lot of heart, very just so good. If you haven't read Amari and the Night Brothers, Amari and the Night Brothers, you should definitely give it a try, and I hope that book 2 is just as good as book 1. I haven't heard as many people talk about book 2 yet, which is kind of surprising. I know Jess over at Jess Owens loved Amari and the Night Brothers, but I don't think she's gotten to the book 2 yet, so she was kind of my litmus test to see if book 2 is just as good as book 1, but I guess I'll just have to try it for myself. Boo. Then I'm just on a kick of continuing series that I've started, so I would like to continue the Shadow of the Fox trilogy, with book 2 being Soul of the Sword by Julie Kagawa. This feels very much like anime in book form. We are on quests, fighting different Japanese folklore monsters, and on a hunt to find these different pieces of this dragon scroll that can be used to summon a dragon to give somebody a wish. And obviously it can be used for nefarious purposes or good purposes. And we are following a half kitsune, so half fox spirit demon type girl who was raised by monks, and this kind of grumpy samurai type figure on their quest to find the fragments of this scroll for different reasons. And it feels very much like Inuyasha, and it's just a lot of fun. So I just have been living for all the Japanese or different Asian cultures inspired mythology type feel books lately, and so I can't wait to continue on that series. Then we're just trying to keep going and continue, complete, do all the things, and so I would like to at least try to wrap up the Farseer trilogy with book 3. This is Assassin's Quest. If you know, me and Farseer have not been vibing. I find it, to be totally 100% honest, a lot a bit boring. It is very slow paced, very focused on this character Fitz and his inner thoughts and his mopiness. And there's a lot of cool elements to the world building and just things that I'm like intrigued enough by. But so far from my impression of Realm of the Elderlings, at least from the Farseer trilogy, a lot of the cool stuff happens with other people off page, and we don't necessarily get to see it on page, which kind of drives me up a wall. Like, I want to see the cool stuff, and I don't just want to hear about it and mope around a castle for thousands of pages, which is so far what I'm getting. And I hope maybe Assassin's Quest will turn it around. Maybe there's a quest. Maybe we'll actually go and do something. That is my fervent wish, hope, dream, aspiration for this book, but I don't know, we'll see. And then the final thing I'd like to get to is I have an arc for the Sapphire Altar by David Dalglish. I read book 1 of the Vagrant Gods series, The Bladed Faith. It made my top 10 ongoing series. It is fantastic. It's so much fun. And book 2, The Sapphire Altar, comes out January 10th, 2023, so it's not that far away. So I'd like to read it and hopefully review it on the channel to give you an idea of how book 2 is for this series. In book 1, we are very much following this nation as this external god emperor force comes in and kind of subverts their culture and takes over, and the prince's parents are murdered, but he escapes, and he gets trained to be this figurehead type person to kind of lead the resistance to try to take back their country. I have a full dedicated review, spoiler-free, for book 1 that I'll link above and below for you if you want more immediate thoughts and feels of when I read book 1. And I'm so looking forward to getting to book 2, and thank you so much, David, for sending that my way. But those are the 8 things I really like to get to in November. There's a lot of really big chunkers. I have a good split. I think about half of those I hope to listen to on audio, and half I hope to read with my actual physical eyeballs. Did I say balls? Oh. And that is my dream, my aspiration, my goal. If you've made it to the end of this video, maybe I'll start being one of those people who gets you to leave emojis. So if you want to leave an emoji, go ahead and leave in a dragon for Assassin's Quest to help motivate me to continue my journey in the Realm of the Elderlings, to see if this series is for me or not. If you have something to say, or you want to talk about these books or what you hope to read in November, please leave me a comment down below. And while you're down there, go ahead and hit that like button. Subscribe if you want more bookish shenanigans like this from Wa. Other than that, I hope you have a great rest of your day, and I'll talk to you again soon. Bye!